My red alert alarm going off, and it is going off one after the other, as there are reports that Iran is attacking military bases in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Israel, all in revenge, they say, of these strikes by Israel and the U.S. on Iran. Listen to that red alert app going off. For anyone that's new, that means there are missiles, rockets, drones, aircraft. That's really what it means. We don't know which one it is, but that's what that means. And of course, usually the alert tells them it's a drone, it's an aircraft, it's a rocket, a missile. Joining me is going to be Annie Cyrus. She woke me up at 2 a.m. this morning as my phone started blowing up with text. I said no, and I didn't even bother. And finally, she woke me up with a phone call, and I'm glad she did, because I needed to know this. And so we had a conversation, turned on the TV, began monitoring this. And so here we are, 8:37 a.m. Central, 9:37 Eastern Standard. We're going to be joined later in the day by our reporter on the ground in Israel, Aaron. He has been communicating with us. He's now in I think a morning Bible study there. We also have other folks that will be checking in with us. But we're going to do about an hour here and then let you guys get back to your normal day. We'll be breaking in as necessary. Joining me now, though, as you hear that red alert app continuing to go off in the background, warning the folks in Israel of incoming objects, is Annie Cyrus. Annie, welcome. Thank you for covering all this. I don't think you went back to bed, did you?
No. I went to bed originally around 1:30 Eastern time. I got a call myself at 2:47 with the news, and from there I just started covering it.
So what's the latest we're hearing as far as attacks in Iran? Basically, one of the things I've heard is we've hit the equivalent of what would be like the CIA headquarters, right, in Iran?
Yes, that one was hit in Tehran. And it's confirmed. There is nothing left of the building, literally nothing left of the building. As of right now, 11 provinces have been hit. Every single one of them, one way or another, either missile facilities, IRGC headquarters, official government headquarters. I want to be very clear, because I've been online for about 7 hours now. We are not hitting civilians. We are not targeting the streets. And by we, I should say mainly Israel, because majority of drops is from IDF and U.S. military. They are just as precise as they were during the 12 Days War. Are they going to be casualties? Absolutely, on all fronts. It's not just Iranians. Thankfully, so far, there has been zero report of any casualties on U.S. military bases that hit, and zero in Israel. We do have confirmation of, I have confirmation of 12 members of government who are dead, and they were killed in the last 6 hours, including Khamenei, the supreme leader's right-hand man, who's confirmed to be killed. We have the naval head of naval Islamic Republic of Iran's naval offices that was killed, and also the former president of Iran that Americans are very familiar with, Ahmadinejad, the man who came to UN to say we don't have any gays in Iran. His house was hit. 3 of his bodyguards were killed, but unfortunately, I shouldn't say that on air, he's still alive and injured, but alive. So a lot in 6 hours, a lot has happened, Brandon. And I should say this. Only Israeli military can make a surprise out of what everybody thought cannot be a surprise attack. They went against every single operation they have ever done, and they decided to hit Tehran at 9 a.m. local time of Saturday morning, which I told you it's as Monday morning here. In Iran, Friday is the weekend, Saturday is the Monday. They hit the first strike at 9 a.m. local time on a Monday morning of Iran. That's how they managed to turn this into another element of surprise. It's pretty amazing.
We are going to bring up some footage, but we have footage of Iranians also dancing in the street.
It was so
celebrating.
beautiful to see that.
If you
Brother.
get on X, there's quite a bit of footage of Iranians celebrating and dancing and singing. What's very interesting, Annie, is we're also getting video footage out of Israel where Israelis are in their bunkers dancing and singing. Think about that for a minute. We've got Iranians in Iran dancing and singing. They're excited because they want this regime down. You got Israelis dancing and singing in the bunkers. It sounds like both groups, a lot of the citizens at the street level are very happy.
I literally get I got goosebumps when you repeated it. But yes, it was pretty amazing to see the video side by side. And so let me start from here. And I posted this very video saying, those of you who are panicking and think or opposed to what's happening, this is what Iranian people are feeling right now. From the moment the first missile dropped, every single video you see, it's either dancing and singing or behind the camera, the person filming the smoke or the bomb or whatever the scenario, you hear them cheer. They are happy. They don't even care if the next strike is going to take them out. They are very happy with what's happening. There are messages coming out to Trump, to Bibi, again to Trump, thanking them, asking them to keep going. One video asking Trump not to go for a ceasefire. It's been repeated joy and happiness across Iran. Are there, those who prefer for the regime to stay in power? Yes, but majority of people are celebrating today, and they're looking forward to the rest of it.
We are getting word that U.S. Is calling on its citizens to leave Lebanon urgently, reporting leave Lebanon. Annie?
Yes, so between the proxies of Iran, Hezbollah was the first group to put an announcement that they are going to protect the regime. Houthis have done it too. However, Hezbollah has actively started. Therefore, there is a good chance that Israel might have to start dropping bombs on Lebanon as well, or Hezbollah might try to target any American building or facility in Lebanon as well. So that would make sense. They also did evacuate, of course, Qatar, or not evacuate, sorry, place in shelter. Is that how we say it in English?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For all Americans in Qatar, Lebanon, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. It has been issued for all those countries.
And that
as well.
shot right there is, I think, hitting one of our naval installations in Bahrain. And
Bahrain, yes.
I just talked this morning to a friend of mine that worked either in that building or in another building near it. I think he said he actually at one time, about 2 years ago, worked in that building. He's going to be joining us anytime we can grab him, Logan. We can get him in there. But we understand, of course, when you see that, you're thinking, wait a minute, that building's occupied 24/7, I think. But from what I hear, that building was evacuated last week, correct?
That is what I've been able to confirm as well. Yes, both our bases in Bahrain and Iraq were evacuated between 10 days and 7 days ago. I guess we knew what's coming, so we evacuated the accessible bases, if you would. There's another video. I think I did send it to Logan, but there is a missile, Iranian IRGC missile that was, forgive me, my English is a little rattled right now, intercepted in Qatar. And you watch it, it literally landed right in the middle of Doha, as pretty busy street too. And it happened that somebody was just filming. I don't even know why they were filming the sky, but Iran decided. So first they decided to hit Bahrain, Qatar, Doha to be specific. Also areas in Kuwait, which was surprising to me. I don't know what made them think that somehow this is going to help the situation, because immediately Saudi Arabia came out issuing in a statement that they're going to send help to all three areas to protect them against the regime of Iran. And then so far, only 40, what the Israeli government has confirmed, only 40 missiles have been launched from Iran to Israel, which makes you think, Brannon, what happened to the whole tough talk of 2,000 missiles, 500 at a time? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I got a report here. Iranian, I sent it to you, Logan, bookmark. Iranian ballistic missile unit forces struck by Israel after loading, I should say, a missile launcher and preparing launch towards Israel. So Iranian ballistic missiles unit forces struck by Israel.
There you go.
After loading a missile launcher and preparing to launch toward Israel.
That was the video. The IDF released the video themselves on their X account saying they literally got them as they were preparing for lunch. Mm-hmm. Yes. And by the way, two confirmed, one in Tabriz, one in Tehran. Two missile facilities have been taken out or hit by IDF as well. So they already lost two of their major facilities. And they might run out of missiles soon.
Let's go to some of the Israelis. I got that in your feed there, Logan. This is in Tel Aviv, in a bunker. Israelis pray and sing as Iranian retaliation looms. There they are. They've opened up their garages under the ground. There's bunkers. Aaron yesterday reported to us from Israel they had extra blood that people were donating. They've been getting ready now for this for months and months and months. And maybe one could say actually for years. But everyone is at the street level in both countries rejoicing. We have another one in that feed too, Logan, of a man out on the street wearing the Iranian flag, the Ayatollah's flag, as a diaper.
Yes, I saw that one. Yeah, you know, Brennan, I think what we're witnessing now, I'm not going to speak on behalf of Israelis because I don't know. On behalf of Iranians, what we are experiencing right now is right where we left off after the 12 days war. Right. Like it's that we're back at it. And I have personally, since this, middle of the night, whenever it was, I'm like, Lord, please let this go forward without Trump trying to get a ceasefire out of it again, because that would be extremely disappointing. However, it's like it's been a 9-month wait because we knew Israel was going to come back. We knew it. It was just when. So Iranians are feeling that joy again, that, okay, we survived somehow of 2 months. Now, this is where it's very, I shouldn't say ironic, but I'll say it. Today is February 28th. The revolution of people of Iran started on December 28th, right on the 60-day, again, as something with Netanyahu in 60 days, right? Right on the 60th day of the revolution come in. So for Iranians, and I think for Israelis, is that finally the wait is over. 9 months of, is it today, is it today, is it today? It finally happened. Mm-hmm. And again, it's been very precise. It's been very coordinated, unlike IRGC, that they're just dropping missiles wherever they can. So Iranians aren't feeling threatened, though they don't mind. There was one video that I saw when a mid-aged lady says, hey, if I'm going to die, I'd rather die knowing there's a momentum for freedom than die in hands of IRGC. That's where people of Iran are. Remember, over 50,000 people were just killed. Death is not a threat to Iranians anymore. They're going to die. They prefer this death come with some hope. There you go. That's the diaper guy.
There's the diaper guy. Yeah. And we've got a bookmark in there as to what Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying. 4 hours ago, he said, quote, a short while ago, Israel and the United States launched an operation to remove the existential threat posed by the terror regime in Iran. Our joint action will create the conditions for the brave Iranian people to take their fate into their own hands. I call on you, citizens of Israel, to follow the Home Front Command's instructions. In the coming days, during Operation Roar of the Lion, we all will be required to have patience and mental strength. Roar of the Lion. Interesting, he's saying in the coming days, are they anticipating that Iran is going to ratchet up their attacks, or are they going to have surgically hit them to the point that they can't? It's interesting, he says in the coming days, as though this is going to be a long, drawn-out thing that may require patience and mental strength. But right now, it doesn't look like much is happening.
So when he concluded his emergency meeting with his staff, or I should say his military, they announced that this round is going to continue for 4 straight days.
Okay.
They did say 4 days. Today was day 1.
And what is that we're looking at right there?
Let me see.
What's that, Logan?
Isn't that the Doha?
That's Doha?
Drop?
He's looking it up.
Looks like the Doha hit.
Abu Dhabi City.
Oh, is that the one? Wait, what did they hit there?
Then that would
Just
be
a random
Iran,
hit?
obviously. Iran hitting Abu Dhabi.
Yes. And by the way, side note of me being me, diplomacy. Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and EAU, which is Abu Dhabi, they all mentioned about a week ago or 2 weeks ago that they will not allow their aerospace for neither side of this battle, right? They're just going to stay neutral. This morning, they wake up and they realize, oops, IRGC just hit us. This is why you don't negotiate with these people. This is why you don't side with them. You don't talk to them. You just don't. The very 4 countries that decided to be neutral and not allow Israel or America to use their airspace ended up being targeted by the same country that they were supposedly trying to protect. Which is... But yes, anyway, sorry. So the 4 days is solid. Like they have decided that 4 days. And I think they're going to estimate or reevaluate depending on how Iran reacts. I don't have enough confirmation, but I have enough confirmation to tell you that they rattled the regime exactly the same way they did on the first 12 hours of 12 Days War. The names that I'm getting confirmation on killed, they were too high ranking to be replaced immediately. So right now, a lot of high ranking people are playing, filling in for 2-3 empty spots. And so far, their call for their allies have not been answered. Yes, again, Hezbollah and Houthis have answered the call, but the rest of them haven't. I know there was an attack or a strike, 2 strikes in Iraq by Israel, which I'm glad they're doing it. My very first instinct, I think it was when I woke you up and I was talking to you, I said they need to close the border so they can smuggle Khamenei into Iraq. Because remember, everybody said, oh, he's going to go to Russia. And I said, no, he's going to go to Iraq. So I'm guessing with them hitting certain areas in Iraq, probably that's what they're looking at as well, especially because yesterday there was a plane that took off from Tehran in Iran into Baghdad without a destination on the manifesto. Was that Khamenei being transferred to Iraq? I don't know. But I'm guessing Israel is looking at the same pattern as I am, which I'm glad they're hitting certain areas in Iraq where could be the allies of Khamenei or Khamenei himself. So again, as we all know, it's developing as it's going, but how Iran reacts and how we react as U.S., a good friend of mine from Netherlands this morning, she messaged me, she said, is this going to happen, or is this to force their hands to sign the papers? Because remember, the 3rd round of negotiations on Tuesday went on hold. It wasn't concluded, it wasn't canceled, it wasn't successful. They said it's on hold. They had to pause because the issues were stronger than the agreements. So are we doing this to get them to sign those agreements, or is this really where we're going to finish it? My answer to her was, this is us forcing them to sign the papers. My guess is by Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to hear ceasefire talks. I hope I'm wrong, but seems just listening to President Trump's speech, this 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, the 7-minute, it sounded as we're trying to twist their arm rather than finish them up.
We've, yeah. Well, he wants that peace deal, right? So this is the softening up. Let's go in the feed there, Logan. We have reports of dozens of U.S. Tomahawk cruise missiles flying over Iraq, headed to Iran. If you get that in your feed.
They made it. They already hit their target.
Wow. There we go.
They went to harder name of province, but Sistan and Balochistan. The two targets. One was Imam Ali IRGC facility that was hit. The other one, as of right now, report says it was a what do we call a place where they store all of their guns and weapons?
Munitions or armory.
Yes. Armory. So the two targets were the armory and the Imam Ali IRGC facility in Sistan and Balochistan.
Okay.
And they were both successfully hit.
In that, you got Jason? We're going to be joined by former Navy test pilot and national security officer. He's retired from the U.S. Navy. He was stationed in Bahrain. I talked to him several times while he was there. Had a conversation with him this morning. He joins us now. Jason, thank you for your service to the country. Hope you're enjoying semi-retirement, although I know you went back to work in in your same space field expertise as a rocket scientist. But tell us your thoughts on this strike. Is that the building in Bahrain that you used to work in?
Yeah, good morning or good afternoon, depending where you're at. In fact, that's the exact same building that I worked at. That's Fifth Fleet headquarters building at Naval Support Activity Bahrain. I've been looking at the various videos and pictures to ascertain, and yeah, that's showing that. So that's on the highway adjacent to NSA Bahrain, and yeah, that's a definite hit on the headquarters building, and that's a lot of damage. But that being said, there's a lot of redundant layers. Yeah, so you can see the grain, the grain mill, Bahrain grain mill in the background. That's the tall facility right there. Yeah, so they definitely took out the headquarters. You could see the missile fly in.
And that's a U.S. Navy intelligence building.
So that's the headquarters for Fifth Fleet. So, you know, the Navy is divided into fleets. Fifth Fleet is the area of responsibility that includes the Middle East. And so that's where the Fifth Fleet commander is stationed, and that would be his office, the vice admiral there.
And what we're hearing from Annie is that was evacuated a week ago. So are you getting reports to the same? Because of course our concern was, did we just lose a bunch of American soldiers and officers?
Yeah. So when I've been there, so again, that is kind of the focus for the whole, that's a supporting function to CENTCOM, Central Command, and all the Navy assets are coordinated through there. And primarily my role there was as supporting intelligence through a variety of intelligence gathering means. And so they're going to be the first to know of things that are happening. When I was stationed there, we knew well enough in advance to prepare for any attack. And when I was there was at least 2 times that I was prepared to evacuate. And then, we could observe attacks and see what defenses were being effective. And if there was concern such as something like this, a ballistic missile attack, then yeah, they probably would have evacuated. I did hear of and saw some traffic indicating for families to depart. And so I know most families that were there, there are some people that are stationed there that are accompanied by their families. I've got a few friends stationed there that are not accompanied by families. And so they were probably given an evacuation order. Most people would have left. And then last few stragglers, if they thought that particular building would have been the specific target, they have other fallback and other locations to operate from.
So we can probably rest easy knowing that we did not lose any American life there in that building.
That building probably would have been largely evacuated, if not completely evacuated and shut down. It's possible to do that, but there could have been, a few, last remaining individuals there, or collateral damage. That's right next to the Navy Exchange right there, the shopping center, and a lot of other buildings in the immediate area. So there could have been people around. It just depends on how how much they evacuated the area.
Any idea where in Iran that missile would have come from? And what kind of missile would that have been? Any idea?
I don't. My area of expertise was not the missiles. It was actually the drones and the various types of drones that they were flying. There's only a few missiles that could have made it. I'd have to look that up and do a little research. But rest assured, we will know exactly where they launched from, the trajectory it took, and what missile it was.
And what are your overall thoughts on what we're watching unfold here? And where do you think it's going? How long do you think it'll last? What are your concerns for the other military bases in the region?
Yeah, I think, we typically are pretty well prepared for an attack. To be honest, I'm surprised it hasn't happened before, at least successfully. There's been many, many attempted attacks that we just don't hear about. And, we thwart them pretty easily. So this is somewhat surprising that they were able to get through some of the defenses. And I think that there's going to be a swift response and a pretty severe response.
So you are a little shocked then that they were able to target that building.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, we knew we were targeted all the time. And, there's times I was able to sit there and see attacks coming. But we, also saw various defenses take out those attacks.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you sat in that building watching attacks coming? And
yeah.
And of course, they would not be successful. But are you sitting there thinking, we may have to get out of here in a matter of seconds, or what's the deal? How does that work? How long is the flight time?
Yeah, we're prepared. Well, it would have been on foot in a rapid departure from the building. We have Kevlar and what we call our battle rattle on, and we would just expeditiously depart the area. Understanding what kind of attack it was coming and what kind of damage would be possible. If it was something larger, then obviously we would have fallen back, wouldn't have reported to work, and would have reported to alternate locations or just evacuated.
Wow. What are your thoughts as far as the other assets in the region? Your concerns for them are how high now?
I think we'll provide additional defenses that will be able to handle such attacks first. So I would expect our defenses to be improved and taken up a level. I think mostly we were looking at offensive capability, less so on defensive. So I think we'll probably revisit some of the defenses and then go into various fallback positions that won't be. They'll still probably attack facilities, but the impact to personnel and operations will be zero.
How concerned are you for the homeland? How concerned are you that there is the pulling up of proxies and terror cells in the U.S.? Do they, at this point, act independently in such a situation, so they go whenever they want? What are your thoughts and concerns there for the homeland?
Yeah, I think they remain where they've been at for years now. I would say even back to the presidency of Barack Obama, even though he did deport a lot of people, we know for sure that many terror cells came in, and then we know also under Biden's reign there that many more came in. And Annie has raised the alarm, you have raised the alarm, I've raised the alarm on many programs, and I think all the warnings that we have given for at least the last 10 plus years remain in effect. And that's just that there are these cells that are going to be kind of lone wolf cells in small numbers with plans of attack to try to cause as much civilian harm and chaos and terrorism as possible. Now, at what point are they going to be activated? We don't know. That's kind of the big question of what's the trigger event that will cause them to go into operations. That's the big question. And I think it's a bigger point is that it needs to be at a time when the follow-on events would be possibly successful, and I don't think that's the case right now.
I think, Annie, I want to bring you in here for any questions you might have, but we've got soccer tournaments coming up here in the U.S. pretty quick here, don't we? Millions of people coming into the country, slipping in, and then big targets.
We have the biggest sport event in the world coming to America in June 12th.
Yeah. FIFA World Cup is tremendously huge worldwide, and that's all over the country. So certainly, and that's something that we've always talked about is, large events with large gatherings of civilians are going to be the prime targets. Amusement parks, open air events, sporting events, pools, malls, shopping areas, things like that. They're going to be the primary targets to inflict as much civilian damage as possible.
Well, I just sent the video to Logan, but there is confirmed reports that Iran decided to hit UAE again. And they actually targeted the largest, let's call it a business/shopping center. Yeah. It literally has the biggest traffic of civilians, and they just hit it. Oh, wow. Iran's, I know exactly the trap they're setting. IRGC is setting the trap by the book.
And
yeah, I've been to that shopping center. It's a very busy area.
And again, what country is that in?
UAE.
Okay. Yeah. We are getting a video footage, Logan, bookmarked. Trusted Contact says captured scenes following the strikes in Dubai. So we got some more footage in that. Now, Annie, we have to wait for verification, but Channel 12 is saying in Israel they have assessed that Ayatollah Khamenei was killed, but there's no fact. There's no, you're doubting that. I'm gathering, right?
I am doubting that for a few reasons. Number one, I know I have confirmation that Khamenei was moved back to one of his bunkers on Thursday. He's not going to show up to work Monday morning. Well, it's Saturday here, but calendar-wise, Monday morning of work. I very highly doubt he showed up at work. The second reason is, as I said, based on the tracking and the videos we have watched, well, I should say it was out yesterday, that flight from Tehran to Baghdad is still the question. It's even in the country. Third reason, when the Islamic Republic of Iran's broadcasting started talking about that strike in a mocking way, accidentally, in a mocking way, the expert on camera slipped out that he's not even in Tehran. And then he realized, oops, he wasn't supposed to say that. So we have confirmation from one of his own staff on air saying he's not even in Tehran. Am I 100% saying it didn't happen? I can't do that. But I highly doubt that he was in that building at the time of that strike. Highly doubt it.
And we are hearing that what is supposed to be the busiest international airport on Earth in Dubai has been indefinitely closed.
Wow, yeah.
Yes. Do we have any? Let me see. I want to see if they have stopped any attacks and all attacks on Bahrain. Because if they're doing what I think they're doing, they should be attacking more places in Bahrain, meaning going for civilians.
Yeah, they're going to want to inflict as much damage on the civilian populations to punish the countries that cooperated with the U.S. and
try to force them to back down and not support Israel and U.S. Because basically, unfortunately, the Middle Eastern mindset. A lot of the civilians of these countries, including some of the government members, are going to start blaming the cooperation with Israel and with America, and it needs to stop, or our sovereignty is in danger. So Iran's hoping to force their Kuwait, Bahrain, possibly Qatar. I don't think they're trying to stop Qatar. They know better. But they're going to try to stop the rest of them, which makes it hard for us to operate if we don't have their aerospace or bases or cooperation.
What are your concerns? I'm listening to various pundits out there now saying things like Trump just committed the United States to total war with Iran. There is a high probability that Iran will activate terrorist sleeper cells inside the United States in the coming days and weeks. Trump's huge gamble accelerates the world's trajectory towards a nuclear world war. This is what's being said by people like Alex Jones and others out there on X. What are your thoughts on that, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were kind of already engaged in, until and unless Iran was going to back down. Our midnight hammer was just a warning blow, and we were going to continue until until all the conditions were going to be met. So I think the buildup that we saw in the area was clear of what Iran's fate was going to be. So we were already moving towards that, and with the intention of peace through strength. And so the Iranian regime is going to have a really hard time, I think, to get through this intact. But that doesn't mean that there won't be a lot of civilian potential damages. So it just depends on how quickly we're able to shut down their capabilities to launch these kind of missile attacks. And then we need to be concerned about terror cells and what they're going to do after. Because, again, those are decentralized. They're not connected to any network that we can necessarily shut down. They've learned to be very kind of disorganized in order to thwart our, intelligence and other capabilities to stop them from being successful.
And now we're hearing that, I'm going to mark this, Logan. This is kind of where we were at. One of the most recognizable man-made structures on Earth, luxury hotels, thousands of residents, global icon. This is a Hotel Palm Jumeirah in Dubai.
Yeah, that's the one we just talked about.
Yep.
The big population, civilization population.
I just sent you, I just marked more footage coming in, Logan.
Yeah, there's a really neat water park, and it's near the indoor ski area too.
So what that means is they're now targeting civilian sites.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the hotel that looks like a very large sail, and it's got the helicopter landing pad on the roof, and it's a fascinating, amazing hotel actually.
I was just trying to see if the Crown Prince was speaking in English. He's not. Are we hearing? We know he's speaking, but I can't understand what he's saying.
He put out a video. I want to say this was my own personal educated guess. I do not have any confirmation from his office, but I strongly believe he was given notice ahead of time. Because the video he released when he spoke, it wasn't up and go. It was prepared. It was very well put together, and it was within minutes. His video came out before President Trump even got to camera. That being said, first thing he said was, of course, addressing the Iranian people inside Iran, telling them that this is hopefully the help we were expecting to come, stay inside, stay, in shelter until it's time for you to come back on the streets. And then he addressed President Trump with a thank you note and asking to possibly, as best as possible, consider safety of the civilians inside Iran. And then he addressed IRGC of this might be your very last warning. Put down your guns, join the people, or you may not see tomorrow. That was the content, short version of his content. And
now we're being told that the U.S. military has hit Iranian Parliament, National Supreme Council, Ministry of Intelligence, Iranian Atomic Energy Agency, and they are supposedly involved in major cyber attacks on news agencies there in Iran. But of course, that brings up again the issue of cyber attacks. How concerned are you, Jason, when it comes to cyber attacks on our assets in the region, and then also on the homeland here?
Well, I mean, we experience cyber attacks every day, continuously. The bigger difference is the more complicated cyber attacks during times of war will be, pulled out potentially. I'm not so concerned about cyber attacks from Iran. It would be more from any agreements that they would have with China or Russia to maybe do something. But I think what we're seeing here are kind of the final death throes of the Iranian regime in desperation. And so I think if they're not going to remain in power, I don't see how China or Russia are going to be too inspired to support that and pull out some of their more complicated tools to use as a silver bullet.
And again, I don't want to ask you to give away anything you're not, but there are reports in open source that the USS Gerald Ford, sitting up next to Israel there, was positioned there so that they could provide kind of an umbrella to assist the Iron Dome. USS Abraham Lincoln was more closer to Iran for strikes, and then Gerald Ford as an umbrella to assist with incoming from Iran. Is that open source report sound accurate to you?
Yeah, that seems pretty legitimate. Legitimate. Yeah, and I was actually stationed aboard. I cruised upon the Abraham Lincoln.
So you used to launch fighter. You used to fly off that deck.
I did, yes. Yeah, and then and going back, kind of recalling some of our daily briefings, the missile that probably hit Bahrain would have been a Shahab 3 missile. So that's a liquid fueled missile. We get briefs daily, twice a day, but more significant briefs every morning of every possible threat that's going on, down to extreme groups within Bahrain lighting tire fires in protest and on up. So any attacks like this would have been probably prepared for and briefed for days, if not weeks, as the command was preparing for this attack.
Sorry, Iran just striked Kuwait's international airport.
I saw that. Logan, we have that bookmarked if you're going to show pictures of that. Yeah. Repeat that one more time as Logan throws the image up there, please, Annie.
Islamic Republic of Iran just striked Kuwait's international airport.
Let that roll a few times. Right there. What was that fell out of the sky?
Oh, that's the one in Doha. That is the intercepted missile, Iranian missile in Qatar. They intercepted it. It literally just landed there. And amazingly, someone was following it with their camera.
And that was a missile we just saw fall out of the sky?
Yes.
Yeah,
intercepted.
That was the missile body that you could see that was basically either the guidance and the propulsion system was taken out, so all you see is the rocket body that's full of fuel.
Can we pause it, Logan, when it comes down as he's explaining? Right there.
Yeah,
okay.
Right there.
So tell me exactly, just folks know, Jason Pratt is a literal rocket scientist. This is his wheelhouse. So tell me what that is.
Yes, that's going to be the kind of the final boost phase with the missile that contains the fuel, the liquid fuel. So it looks like the rocket engine itself is not functioning now. Usually the rocket's going to be complete and it's burned. This is a pretty close shot though for Russia. So these missiles can go over 2,500 kilometers. So this was a pretty close shot. Usually you'll just have the warhead coming in and to detonate. But if the missile was basically intercepted and kind of taken out of command, then what you're seeing is basically the fuel of the rocket exploding as it hits the ground.
So is there a warhead on that or not?
Yeah, there should have been. It depends on what kind of damage was done to it, depending on what they used to disable this missile.
How many phases would a rocket like that have? And yeah.
I'd have to look at the Shahab 3. I'd have to look. It's I think it's just got like its boost, its initial ignition boost phase, and then terminal phase is just going to be kind of gliding in to its target.
So would that be the final form, or is that still got something to detach before it would hit the intended target?
That would have still. Yeah, that should have had something else to detach, which would have been the warhead, much smaller in size. So I'm trying to get the specs on the Shahab 3. Yeah, that looks like kind of the mid portion of.
So it still had another
phase
phase to go to let some of that go before it was a smaller object.
Potentially, or it just would have flown right in, and not detach the warhead. Like I said, it's such a close range missile shot for this particular missile, but it's their most advanced missile with the best guidance system that they have.
Logan, I think we have another one in there of the airport, a picture of the airport. I thought I had bookmarked it for you. That was the airport in Kuwait, right?
Yes, the international airport in Kuwait.
Okay, here we go. All right, there's the airport.
Yes, and looks like they're reporting just few minor injuries of a staff because, well, they had the airport closed down anyway, so thankfully nobody died. Few minor injuries has been reported.
Now we're hearing that, if that's true, we're hearing that those were drones.
Yes, hold on. Let me make sure I'm translating the word correct. It is Pahod. Yes, that is a drone.
So let me ask you, Jason, I mean, that's one of your areas of expertise as well, drones. How much of this war is going to be fought with missiles versus drones?
Well,
on both sides.
Well, I'm not going to say what we're going to use. we'll use whatever we need to. We weaponeer based on what the target is and what the best effects will be. But Iran's going to throw everything they have at it. Their drones are pretty simple, pretty inexpensive. They can cause a good bit of damage, especially against soft targets. So they're going to use those as much as possible. They've gotten much more skilled at flying them, and they have numbers of locations to launch from. So again, they have their proxies in Yemen, so they'll certainly be launching out of Yemen, as well as all along the coast and even some of the interior of Iran towards their various targets, that they can get closest to. And most of their drones are winged, not kind of the helicopter style. So they're winged drones. They can fly pretty far. They're not terribly fast, but they're pretty maneuverable, and they can have reconnaissance packages on them as well as explosives. And the explosives are pretty, substantial enough to cause a lot of damage to soft targets, to public infrastructure and airports and malls and hotels.
Mm. Have we heard anything? Whoa, what's that, Logan? Is that Dubai again? Yeah. Have we heard anything about the stealth bombers out of Missouri? Any word about stealth bombers being used?
So a lot of our equipment was already forward deployed. So there's various bases. I'm sure. Yeah, it's hard to. They could have already been used, or in use, or will be used.
Mm-hmm. What, Annie?
Go on. Let me confirm. I'm sorry. I should have made that noise until I confirm. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. How long do you think this is going to stretch out? It sounds like a week or maybe 2 weeks, Jason?
So I think I would give Iran actually just a couple days, like a day or two, before their capability to launch an attack is neutralized. But
we will continue striking, right?
Yes.
And Israel.
Yeah,
so
I think
this will probably go for a week or two just with Israel and the U.S. striking so that all their assets are done and toast, right?
Yeah. So if you notice, like during Midnight Hammer, if we look at kind of the way that went down and the response from Iran, Iran was allowed to do some saber rattling, say a bunch of very strong words, and attack a few targets that were really meaningless to just save face. What we're seeing now, though, and I guess that was kind of a somewhat polite agreement between militaries that, hey, we're going to hit you hard, but be forewarned. If your response is of beyond a certain amount, then you're going to be utterly destroyed. And I think they now know that that line in the sand was rapidly approaching, and so they had nothing to lose at this point. So they're pulling all the stops out, and now Iran is throwing whatever they can while they can. So, like I said, these are final acts of desperation.
I've marked it, Logan. Iranian General Sardar Jabari says the missiles fired so far are outdated and warns, quote, soon we will unveil weapons you have never seen before, end quote. So he says.
Yeah, I think what hit Fifth Fleet was their absolute best. They targeted the single building. It hit its target. I think that's probably about the best they probably have.
Yeah. So a lot of blustering here. Annie, did you confirm what you were?
I can't confirm it on any of our outlets, but then again, our outlets are like 5 hours behind everything. But well, maybe Jason can not confirm, but the possibilities. IRGC is claiming that it targeted the U.S. MST combat support vessel with surface-to-sea missiles. Is that even a possibility, or are they claiming? Uh-huh. Oh, it is? Okay, then that's what IRGC just claimed.
Say that again. They're claiming what again, Annie?
They claim that they targeted a U.S. MST combat support vessel with surface-to-sea missiles. My accent got in the way of that entire sentence, but Jason understood what I was saying.
Yeah, so there's support ships. So what they're going after is, again, a soft target that has very little defense capability. Now, whether or not they were successful, again, we know what their surface-to-sea missiles are and their capabilities. Many of them are old Russian era surface-to-air missiles that are kind of reconfigured, and man pads, again, that are reconfigured for surface-to-sea. And then they've got a few missiles like Silkworm and a few others that are reasonably capable. I think my only concern would be really the weapons that the general would have been referring to that Iran would unleash would be more of their weapons of terror and those cells being activated. That would be my bigger concern over anything of a military capability that they have, because again, I think what we probably saw was what we're seeing is the best they've got.
Jerusalem Post is now reporting Khamenei cut off from contact. No certainty on fate, Israeli sources say. No certainty on fate. Daily Mail is reporting that there are sources inside Israel saying he may have been eliminated, but of course there is no confirmation. Israeli media says growing indications that the supreme leader was killed in U.S. and Israeli strike. That's Daily Mail.
Mm-hmm.
How does this, do you believe, first to you, Annie, how do you believe if this is a successful strike by President Trump, how do you, and there is a regime change in Iran, how do you believe this positions him for more success in his Middle East policy, Abrahamic Accords, as well as how does this set him up for the midterms? And then I'll ask Jason the same question. You first, Annie.
Well, I would say depends on the regime change. Is it going to change the regime and give the country to MEK? Or is it going to help get rid of the mullahs and then let people of Iran bring their chosen transitional government under leadership of Crown Prince Pahlavi? If he does the first step, which is the MEK, his position will stay right where it's at, with a stronger ally coming in as MEK to support his board of peace. If he doesn't and allow Crown Prince Pahlavi to be the transitional government, most likely his entire board of peace is going to fall apart. 90% of signatures are going to be erased and walk away. Midterm, I don't think it doesn't matter. As of today, well, as of 2 months ago, midterm was decided for, but today gave an extra ammunition to Dems to try to flip seats.
What are your thoughts, Jason?
Yeah, I'm thinking, pre-70s revolution government. If something like that were installed, again, I think what we had in Iran before the revolution was actually an ally, even better than Israel in the Middle East. So to have an ally like that in the Middle East there would be tremendous. Again, I think an ally more valuable than Israel, even as far as I think having similar perspectives and desired outcomes and coordination. I don't know if that's possible, but to do a regime change and move to a more moderate, more modern, less Islamic regime in Iran would do a lot for the region.
There are also reports that, I guess, defense minister, IRGC chief killed in U.S. Israel strike. And then there are others saying Ayatollah is still alive as far as I know. Sources inside
That's
Iran.
IRGC.
Pardon?
IRGC said that. He quickly ran to cameras to say, as far as I know,
and what is his title? What is his title?
He's the foreign minister. He's the guy who's doing all the negotiations with Witkoff and Kushner.
And where
He's
is
the foreign
he?
minister.
Where is he tonight?
Tehran.
Okay.
Probably on his way to the bunker now. After saying what he said, he's probably going to go hide. Here's the truth about Khamenei. Let's play both ends. They killed him. There is absolutely no possible way that any official in Iran is going to announce that, even in a private room by themselves behind closed doors. Because if that has happened, and even a whisper of confirmation comes out, it's done. It's done. Now, mind you, I'm one of the people with many other Iranians who think the original Khamenei died a long time ago anyways. But they're not going to announce it, even if he has been killed, unless Israel finds a way to, I don't know, dig the body up and show the proof. This is going to stay a rumor until either there's a ceasefire, so they can come out and do damage control, or this whole thing collapses and it's over. Now, if it's on the other side of he did not get hit, they're not going to come out saying much about it either, because if they do, then Israel's going to try to track him and see where he's at to finish the job. So no matter what, from the government of Iran, we're going to keep hearing this. As far as I know, there won't be a certain yes or no on neither end, because both sides is going to work against them. So don't expect a straight answer from the government of Iran anytime soon, which means we won't have a way of confirming. As I said, unless we pull DNA, there is no proving it otherwise.
We do have the former IDF spokesperson. We have an interview that he's given. I guess apparently the poly markets are moving quickly for a return of the crown prince. And there are bets now that Iran's supreme leader is out by March 31st. Here's what the former...
No, 21st. Please, March 21st. Can we have our first Persian New Year after 47 years?
That's March 21st.
Yes, March 21st. That's been a saying all day long today on the Farsi side of platforms. Like, is this the New Year we're going to celebrate? Like, I don't know.
Well, here is an interview. Here's the former IDF spokesperson on this.
A poly market for the first time, it was at 46% just before the interview. Now it's at 52, 53%. That the supreme leader will be out as Iran's leader by March 31st, whether through a strike or through a revolution or a regime change. Now, you said it is clear that this operation is different to what we saw last year. What is it exactly? Are you saying it's clear that it's a regime change operation, or is the goal different?
Yeah, no, I think it's been said pretty clearly by both President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. And, when you listen to a video statement by Crown Prince Pahlavi, even though he's not making decisions, but you can see that both Trump and Netanyahu say very clearly This is about bringing down the regime. Trump says very clearly to the Iranian people, once the firing's done, then you can come out and you will have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to regain your country, and that neither the U.S. or Israel are going to interfere or try to do any, king-making or positioning anybody, but this will be the one shot that the Iranian people will have in order to actually reclaim their country from the oppressive Iranian regime that has been controlling it for 47 years. So it is a regime change operation in that sense, not in the sense of there's someone that the West will want to position, but giving the Iranian people what they've been asking for, begging for so many years, and now for the last 2 months even more so, a chance to chart a different path and to get rid of the Iranian regime. Will it be successful? How long will it take? Will the so-called supreme leader be able to hide long enough? Will he be able to continue to oppress the people? Will the IRGC and Basij and army stay loyal to the regime, or will they understand that they're basically on a sinking ship and that they should abandon it? Many questions that are still, unclear. But I think when we take a total balance of the current situation, strategic surprise for the Iranian regime. They are not succeeding militarily at anything offensively yet, and they have been struck quite significantly at home. And I don't see a lot of significant operations. One important factor that still is unaccounted for is Iran's regional proxies, Hezbollah and the Houthis. What are they doing? Are they going to get involved into the fighting? The Lebanese democratically elected leadership have said very clearly to Hezbollah, you do not have neither legitimacy nor support to drag Lebanon into another war at the behest of a foreign power, Iran. And I can really hope that the Hezbollah will heed those warnings. Otherwise, this would, of course, escalate and turn really ugly.
So where is the crown prince now? Is he in Paris? Where is he at?
He's at unknown location.
He's at an unknown location. Okay.
He's at an unknown location. But if I could just add, I agree with pretty much everything he said, but I don't know if he was in position or not, but I am to say this. We should remind our audience, Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu has shaken hands with Crown Prince Pahlavi. The Republican Party of America have shaken hands with MEK. So as we go through these days, let's not forget there is one legitimate candidate by the voice of people, which is Crown Prince Pahlavi. And then there is the Marxist Islamist terrorists waiting to fill in the vacuum, and they have spent billions in the last 2 decades to make that position for themselves. The battle isn't over, but we'll get there when we get there, right?
How is anyone following Russia? Is it true Russia is calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East?
Yes, so is Macron. Macron is calling for ceasefire, and let's go back to the table and negotiate. So did the head of EU.
Here, I guess what he has said, those behind the conflicts, Putin has said, those behind the conflicts in the Middle East and other regional crises seek to exploit their destructive consequences, sowing hatred and turning people around the world against one another. This is the true self-serving objectives of such geopolitical puppet masters, end quote. Of course, one would find that ironic, as he's had a war going on with Ukraine going on how many years now?
4? No, sorry, 6, I think. I think 6 years, 5 years.
We're going to go to Rob Lindstedt here, Logan, as well, add him into the mix. And by the way, folks, if you appreciate what we're doing, look at them. They're taking off their hijabs.
Gorgeous hair.
I was going to say, those aren't extensions, are they?
No.
Neither are yours, are they?
No. That's the thing. Every time I'm asked about my hair, I'm like, it's a Persian thing. Just got hair. Got lots of hers. And it's amazing, by the way, is when you have to cover your hair all the time, it is very damaging, but somehow our hair survives it.
Yeah.
Can I address one thing? It is relevant, but not directly about the war today. I kind of privately addressed it, but this is America. And furthermore, we're on social media, streaming on platforms, which is cyberspace. So you can have your opinion, you can have your belief, you can do you, but one, to try to hijack a conversation that is about livelihood of people to just pour hatred toward Israel, wrong. Number two, to try to tell majority Christian audience of Worldview Tube and my platforms that we all have been deceived and we misunderstood the Bible and Jews are evil, again, very wrong. If individuals who think they're better Christians than the rest of us, I'll teach you the first code of Christianity. Do not judge unless rightfully. And this isn't even a conversation about Jews or Israel for that matter. This is about Iranian people possibly gaining their freedom. And it is also for United States of America's government finally make up for the mess Carter made in 79. Mm-hmm. So please take your hatred for Israel. There's a channel owned by Candace Owens. Take it there. She's going to love you. Her audience are going to love your comments, but not here, not today.
Exactly.
Okay,
100%.
sorry. I just had to get that out of my system.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. And we are getting reports that Stormer, UK Prime Minister Stormer, has confirmed British Typhoon jets have started flying defensive missions over the Middle East. Let's go back to former naval intelligence officer and Navy test pilot and literal rocket scientist, Jason Pratt. Jason, did you learn more about that rocket that we were watching fall out of the sky that got knocked down?
Yeah, I just sent Logan a couple pictures, and there's one. So you can see at their Prophet 4 military exercise. That's the Shahab 3. So you can see the size, with a semi-truck basically behind it. So you can see it's about 30 plus feet, and you can see the diagram there. And what we saw falling out of the sky was basically missing that fin section and maybe the nose cone. Those are going to be the two parts that'll probably break apart first because they do have separation at lines to separate from. And so what we saw was primarily just the rocket body. I would presume that the warhead fell harmlessly to the ground. That being said, there's still about 2,000 pounds of explosives on there if it was the single warhead, or they have a warhead that's a cluster munition that has 5 explosive charges in it, about 600 pounds each. So, those things obviously need to be handled carefully if that did in fact survive landing to the ground, but it probably didn't detonate.
Wow. Man.
I also forgot that earlier today we got confirmation that a Kuwaiti military announced that Ali Al Salam Air Base was targeted by several ballistic missiles. I do apologize for forgetting, but it just popped back up.
Let me know when we got Rob here. And I don't know, Logan, look under that bookmark, whether this is true or not, Annie. 51 Iranian children killed, 60 students wounded after joint U.S.-Israel strikes hit girls' school in Iran. Whether this is true or not, I don't know.
It is.
It is true.
Yes, it is. Okay. I can confirm. Actually, the number is 48 killed and 63 injured. And yes, again, we started this by saying they're very precise and they're very coordinated, but to expect perfection is not acceptable. So it did happen, yes.
Well, and you can imagine how this is going to be used, right?
Oh, it's already being used. You should tune into Iraqi TV in Gaza. It is already.
No,
that's
I'm talking
the only
about
thing
here in
you
the
see.
U.S. Can you imagine how this is going to be used in the U.S.? Jason?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, so, it's well known that these high value military targets in the Middle East, most of the Middle Eastern countries now use this as a strategy, is they will place schools, hospitals, and other civilian targets in close proximity, so that you're even just the collateral damage that's going to happen from destroying a a headquarters building is going to impact a civilian, school, hospital, daycare, something of that nature for the propaganda purposes. So they do this intentionally. They don't build their military structures on bases separate from as much as possible civilian locations as we do here in the U.S. They will place as many civilian targets in close proximity in order to allow for this type of propaganda.
Are we getting any
And I did report, just quickly, remembering last week I reported that there were reports from nurses and doctors that they are witnessing private meetings of IRGC, high-level ranking IRGC members inside hospitals. So for your audience to know, if we hear next there was a hospital that was hit, I know that they were doing their meetings inside hospitals in Tehran. So that might be coming up next.
Can you double check, guys? Any reality, any confirmation on the reality of an IRGC missile having hit in Saudi Arabia? We're getting footage that looks pretty catastrophic of whatever was hit. But again, the reason we have to double check all this, folks, is because things get pulled up from past wars, thrown out on social media, and that was from a past incident, not today's. So we're always vetting and double checking what we put out. By the way, while that's being done, and we can also get Dr. Rob Lindstedt, don't forget, folks, we are brought to you by you. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Help us to continue putting out programming like this. The bandwidth bill alone is $8,000 a month, not counting all the other costs in IT. We got to bring in about $40,000 a month to cover our operational expenses. I don't need to go down the checklist of all the bills we get, but trust me, it is a lot. Just some of the bills we get for licensing. That lower third you see right there, that bill is many thousands of dollars a year, right, Logan? Yep, he says, just to have the right to use that piece of software. That doesn't count all the other software contracts we have that is in the thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. And you add it all together, it comes out to about $40,000 a month we got to bring in. One of the most powerful ways you can support us to keep pushing out free programming like this that's not behind a paywall is through our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Here we are on a Saturday morning reporting to you 9:48 Central, 10:48 Eastern Standard, Saturday, February 28th, bringing you this news and information. Annie will be reporting throughout the day, as I will do my best. I got a scheduled day already, but I'll do my best to dip in and out today. But Annie will be dipping in and out. So again, if you appreciate all we're doing, we appreciate your support. Worldviewfoundation.com. Before we go to Dr. Rob Lindstedt, was anyone able to check about IRGC missile hitting something in Saudi Arabia? Annie?
I do not have any confirmation on that.
Okay. Let's go real quick to Dr. Rob Lindstedt. Dr. Rob Lindstedt, of course, has traveled to Israel, leading tours now for many years, been to Israel over 75 times. He was there during the 12-day war. If you remember, my friends, he was reporting to us from his hotel, going to the bunker multiple times in a given night. I'm sure he's very thankful he's not there right now. My Red Alert app continues to go off over and over. Our reporter on the ground in Israel is Aaron Lavarco. He had a meeting scheduled this morning. Otherwise, he would be with us, but we'll be checking in with him throughout the day as well. Joining us, however, is Dr. Rob Lindstedt. Dr. Lindstedt, your thoughts on what's going down in Israel and in Iran and the whole Middle East, for that matter?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's striking is to see how different this is than what we saw, let's say, in the summer. And one of the differences I see is this attack was in the daytime versus the night. Another big difference is this summer it was with aircraft. This is missiles. So what does that tell us? Well, I think that when they were trying to eliminate the nuclear sites, it was important to use the bombs. Those bombs are huge bombs. And they have a different target in mind. They have a different purpose in mind. I think also the idea that why in the world would Iran fire on 7 of its neighbors Now, I know the last word I heard is that Israel is saying, yes, we did take out maybe as many as 7 of the leaders. Iran comes on and says, no, no one was hurt. I don't believe the Iranian report. I mean, I don't know, but here's something that's quite different. Why would you fire on your neighbors, 7 neighbors, Arab neighbor, and Iran fires on them? I wonder if there isn't a change in the leadership already. In other words, someone important was taken out. But I do think the idea that President Trump said, here's the red line, we moved it enough. And when they came back and said, no, we're not giving up nuclear weapons, we're not saying we're not going to dope them, I'm so glad that he kept his word. It's important for the people of Iran. Think about the people of Iran. They're living in chaos and turmoil. Who can they trust? And they can't trust their leaders. They thought they could trust President Trump. And I think now this will restore their confidence. Yeah, the people of the world are praying that they do get a chance for their freedom. They do get a chance to pick their government. So the contrast of this versus the midnight attack is just so striking and so important.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jason, Marjorie Taylor Greene has put out, I did not campaign for this. I did not donate for this. I did not vote for this in elections or Congress. This is heartbreaking and tragic. How many more innocent will die? What about our own military? This is not what we thought MAGA was supposed to be. Shame. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Jason, what are your thoughts on this from a former military intelligence officer? What are your thoughts on this? For those who are saying this is not America first, we have no interest in this, we have no national security concerns, agree or disagree? Do you think do you think America needed to do this for our own protection, or are we fighting a war just for Israel? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, it's unfortunate. I don't quite understand the politics of Marjorie Taylor Greene anymore. She was used to be a bulldog, and someone that I had a great respect for. I think, we're coming out, our military is coming out of the woke era. And, that's what I retired out of. And that was a major reason why I retired. I tried to fight it from the inside. It was a losing battle. The men and even women in leadership that I had a great respect for, they themselves were either fired or retired because they didn't want to toe that woke line. We are coming out of that. And I think, just our recruitment numbers are through the roof. Men and women are proud, and I think predominantly men, which it should be in these particular warfighting roles, are proud to serve and serve with purpose. I think we have our purpose back. We understand that purpose, and this is right in line with that of seeking to deal with a very dangerous regime that has been pursuing nuclear weapons at any cost and clearly has no respect or appreciation for human life, their own citizens, which we saw during the riots, or those of neighbors or anyone else for that matter. And so I think our military is being sharpened, is sharp, and understands the mission, is proud to serve in this capacity and to do exactly what it is that we have a history of doing, taking out extreme megalomaniac regimes and make people safe. And that's exactly what we voted for. And America is leading the charge, as usual.
Iranian media is claiming, Jason, that Iran has launched hypersonic missiles towards Israel. What are your concerns in regard, whether that's true or not? We're just telling you what's being reported. What are your concerns as far as these warships in the region and hypersonic missiles? I mean, if they take out one of our aircraft carriers or a group, not to mention the loss of life, but then the message that sends on the global scale here, what are your concerns with these hypersonic missiles in regards to the ability to protect our assets in the region from them?
Yeah, so if they have a hypersonic, they would have gotten that from Russia. that's a big if, and that they're employing it. And then if they know how to use it, again, that's going to be coming from Russia. So until I see reports of it actually happening, just like Dr. Lindstedt said, and unless I see their key military leaders alive and well and speaking on TV, I don't trust any report that's coming out of Iran. That being said, if they are using hypersonics, very capable weapon system, very difficult to defend from, but not impossible. And so we would have to see what they target and how successful they are in their targeting and the impacts of that. Now, if that happens, then I think we're going to see any location that could or would launch or house such a missile is going to be destroyed very quickly.
Let's go to the footage. I just marked it for you, Logan. I don't know if, again, we can validate the authenticity of this footage we're about to show or not. But this is what's going all over social media right now in regards to the reported hypersonic missile headed toward Israel. So again, we don't have confirmation. We can only tell you what people are saying. We don't even know if that's from this war right now or not. Annie, are you hearing anything?
Yes, I have seen a video and about dozen pictures about this very specific subject of hypersonic sent to Israel or on its way to Israel.
What is that? Does that, in your area of expertise, Jason, look like anything particular?
Yeah. So if that's so that is the supersonic cloud around an object either exiting or entering the atmosphere. So that's typical of what you'll see. So what that cloud is basically could be the reentry phase of something coming in. Again, would be the cloud, what do we call it? The kind of what creates the sonic boom around the object, and it's kind of creating the cloud around it. So if this is not a space launch, you'll see that typically on space launch, but a reentry vehicle, then that could be a hypersonic.
We are getting word that the Khamenei and the president, supreme leader, and the president of Iran are alive. That's the word now. We'll see. But there you go with that. So the question is, how many of these do you think they have, Jason? And I mean, if they're going to let them rip, this would be the time to do it. Why wait, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like I said, these are acts of desperations that last throes of desperation for their very existence. So whatever they would have in their arsenal, again, they would have obtained from Russia, and I would expect them to launch everything they got. So if this is what he was referring to, I'd be surprised that Russia has these, that Iran has these, that Russia would sell these, but that really shouldn't surprise me.
Annie?
So that could have been something
Jason,
that the general was referring to.
If it helps for you to analyze it better, I just sent 2 videos of it so you see it in motion and measurements and all that. I just sent 2 video of that picture you showed, Brandon. I sent 2 videos to Logan. It might help.
He's grabbing them.
Jason. Yes.
Okay. Dr.
And I was about to agree with you. There you go.
Well, there we go. What's that tell you, Jason?
Yeah, where's the location? What's the known location of this?
The video I received, it's locating it at southeast of Tehran.
Okay, yeah, southeast. So this is a launch phase. So this is the ascent, and the cloud is as the launch vehicle ascends and gains in altitude. The atmosphere gets thinner and thinner, and so the sonic cloud around the vehicle will just increase in size and get bigger and bigger until it exits the atmosphere. In which case, you'll see kind of like just a hole, like a bubble growing, and then it pops. And then it'll proceed to its destination, and then as it re-enters, you'll see it kind of have a supersonic cloud around it again, like when you see jets at an air show. Sometimes they'll pull what we call vapor, right? So it's just low pressure around the very fast object, creating a cloud.
We are also getting word, again, we can't verify, but we're getting reports that Channel 12 in, I think that's Israel, is saying that there is traffic that's being picked up, high frequency broadcast, that the IRGC is working.
Close the Strait of Hormuz.
Yep, to close the Strait of Hormuz. Which, of course, I guess we'll be seeing an uptick in fuel prices here for a day or two, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Will depend on how long they keep it closed.
Dr. Lindstedt, let's bring you back in. From a Bible prophecy standpoint, you know, there's an awful lot of talk about Gog, Magog, and Ezekiel 38:39. Although that's not looking like that this is what that is, unless, of course, some of these nations want to start jumping in. But I'm not confident that this is going to be the time they do that. I mean, Russia right now has got its own problems with Ukraine.
Right. I don't think it is the fulfillment of Ezekiel 38 and 39. A couple things I think that are significant. Number one,
let's have you pull your mic down a little bit. It's distorting on us like it was the other day.
Yep.
There we go. All right. Please continue.
I don't think it is the fulfillment of Ezekiel 38 and 39. I'm fully convinced that will take place, and we we'll be able to track it one by one. But what's interesting is that China and Russia, they're close friends. They're gone. They've disappeared. Now, Jason reported the Russian imported a hypersonic missile. China also is very proud of what they call their fast missile. But it seems like both of them, you know, if your enemy was attacked or your friend was attacked, would you side with them? China and Russia are silent this morning so far. I think another point that's important is we have these people that are disappointed with America doing this. Isn't it interesting that they're perfectly willing for us to do whatever we can for the illegal people that have come into our country, perfectly willing to have them do any violence or any program. But here are the people of Iran who have asked us for help. When in the history of the United States, when people ask us for help, ask us for freedom, that we're not willing to help them? And so I don't think that I don't think there's consistency in their argument. And of course, there's a big cry out. You know, it seems like Congress should have been notified. There's no way to notify Congress. Within 10 seconds, the people in Congress who are tied to the Iranian regime would have called and said, here's what's going to take place. So I think it's played out very well. And I think that you can say they've been warned. And yeah, my heart goes out to the people around who have asked for help. And, you know, 30,000 plus gave their lives for this revolution. And so maybe they will get some of the freedom that they've been hoping for.
Thank you for that, Dr. Lindstedt. All right, as we get ready to wrap here, unless there's more news coming in that we need to keep talking about here, I think we can get ready to wrap for this segment. We're getting a lot of, by the way, wonderful emails and communications even coming in from some of our broadcast partners, Dan Eastman, others, our editor, Jill. All of them are emailing or texting independently of each other saying this is some of the best coverage out there. Well, from what I've seen, yeah, because I was watching some of it before we came on the air. And when you think about from the Bible prophecy side to the Iranian expert, Middle East expert, Annie, and then our national security expert, rocket scientist, Navy pilot. I mean, we've got quite a panel here that has covered this in a way I'm not seeing others do. So again, thank you for all of you that are saying how much you appreciate this level of information and coverage. Again, brought to you by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com. We'll be breaking in throughout the day. Annie will be coming in here as well with some live reports. I will come in as much as I can. But if you have our app, you need to make sure you have push notifications on. Logan, is there a way for us to show them how to turn those on? Do we have a little spot we can show them how to turn those on? We got a little spot we can run for you. Maybe you want to pull your phone out and record what we're about to show you real quick. If you don't have the app, you can get it at worldviewtube.com/app. That APPS, worldviewtube.com/APPS. Again, worldviewtube.com/apps. And then be sure to turn on your push notifications, because we can send out a push notification saying we're live now. And that way you'll know when we're breaking in. You want to play that real quick, Logan? Okay, folks, grab your smartphone right now and record what we're about to play so that you can play it back several times and walk yourself through how to turn on the app notifications. Watch this. We'll be right back to wrap.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. WorldviewTube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the WorldviewTube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the WorldviewTube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the WorldviewTube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
Well, there you go. And if you download the app today, it will automatically be set for push notifications. It will ask you when you download it, if you want push notifications, choose it. And it's very similar process for the Android app as that was demonstrating the Apple or iPhone app. All right. Anything else as we go around the horn? Closing comments from all of our guests. Let's start with you, Dr. Rob Lindstedt.
Well, no other station has an Annie and a Jason.
That's true.
Description. I have a PhD in engineering, and his description of that missile and the hypersonic missile, that's fantastic. And how Annie gets all this stuff, I don't know, but it's worth it. So thank God for you guys. And I think another thing, I sent a clip earlier in the bomb shelter, and like you say, I spent some days in the bomb shelter in the summer. It's not fun, but what I was taken back with was the fact that 10 million people in bomb shelters in Israel. And they warned them, they complied. And I showed a clip of people down there, and they had on their prayer shawls, they had on their prayer books, they were singing and dancing. And among the things, they were thanking God, and they were thanking America for being willing. Yeah, there's the clip. Now, yeah, it's not fun to go down to bomb shelter. Some of these people have been down 5 or 10 times today. But look at that, and they're praising God for protection, and they're thanking America that we stood by them as friends. I think that's a very important part of this whole project, is that we really are trying to stand by people that want freedom, and I think that's what we should do as Americans.
Is reaching out, trying to offer up terms to de-escalate, Annie. Iran is supposedly offering up terms for de-escalation right now, Annie.
Oh, they are? No way. Oh, who'd have thought? Did they run out of missiles, or did they run out of allies? Interesting enough.
And China and Russia, I guess, are requesting a meeting at the UN Security Council on this.
So is Erdogan. Turkey and Macron are friends. They're coming up with, we should de-escalate, we should go back to the negotiation table. It's pretty interesting. Well, as I said, when we started, I said, let's pray this time President Trump will let it happen, rather than this just being another, pressure to get the regime to sign any papers. Let's not do that. That's just day one. We all had fun. Blessings are everywhere. Why we want to get them on the negotiation table?
Well, the Iranian people are in the streets all over the world. All over the world. The Persians are dancing in Australia, all over the place.
Well, remember, every weekend since January 27th, every weekend, Iranians across the world, they come. We had some giant turnouts last weekend in Toronto, in Munich, in Los Angeles. So this was scheduled anyways as the weekend rallies. But before they got to the streets, a strike happened. So they came out way more energetic than the last few weeks. And yes, Iranians are dancing and they're very happy. And I want to, just in case if I forget, I am still on the side of we should stay out of it. Yes, I still strongly believe Israel got this. I'm very glad we're standing by them. And again, I want to say, not to be too technical, but to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Marjorie, technically we're not. It's labeled Israel-US strike. But Israel technically did the strike. Israel did most of the bombing. Israel did most of the maneuvering. Israel is helping. U.S. is standing by Israel, and technically, majority of our support has been, behind the scene. So I could argue that we're not at war with Iran. We're supporting Israel at war with Iran. And that is the truth of it. I'm not making it up. And I still think we should keep it right where it's at. Brian and I have always said we should stay out of it. Israel can handle it. Right now, Saudi Arabia is joining Israel to kill the mullahs because they're very upset. So let's stand by them, by the Israeli people, by the Iranian people. We don't have to get involved fully into the entire war. And I don't even think it's going to take more than a week or two for Israel to finish them up. But for everybody who's losing their mind out there, I still say we should stay out of it. My phone's blowing up, Brandon, with you said we should stay out of it. Now you're celebrating. I'm celebrating the major strikes that was done by IDF. I'm very grateful for our men and women in uniform who are supporting them. But I still think we should stay out of it so we can go in a day and say, let's get a ceasefire out of it. Sorry, that was a very long closing.
No, you're fine. And we are hearing, again, whether it's true or not, that Ali Khamenei is scheduled to deliver a speech shortly. We'll see if that's true or not, right?
I did get that alert that he's going to do a live speech. And as soon as I have that, I'll let you know if it's in a bunker or outside of country speech, because we normally know the difference. We've seen him on those areas. But yes, he is. I did get the notification that before the evening prayer call, he's going to address the nation.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the nation that hates him.
Yeah. And it may be AI. How do we know, right? Or pre-recorded.
I can tell. You know me.
Will.
You know me. I'll watch it, and then I'll come on and give updates as we get them. But on that specific video, as soon as I confirm it, I'll let you know, and I'll let our audience know. And if it's okay, I know you're okay with that. Joe, we're wrapping up the airtime, and as Liz said on the comment section, she's exhausted for me. I might actually take a minute, but I will continue posting updates on my Substack and social media. So we're not just leaving you with no updates until I come back. There will be constant posting as updates come in on my Substack and social media.
I'm checking with our reporter on the ground in Israel real quick. He might be ready to come in real quick and give us a report.
I would love to hear from Aaron.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from Aaron as well. So Logan, reach out to him real quick. Let's get a quick report from him, and then we'll wrap it up. Jason, your closing comments? And thank you, Jason, for interrupting your Saturday morning.
Yes, thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you for comments, Annie. Great comments, and Dr. Lindstedt as well. Thank you. First, just pray for the people in the region there, for the civilians, and for our military. I've heard from my friends that I know that are stationed over there. They're all reporting safe currently, but they are forward deployed and will be part of any American answer to this. And I agree that this has been predominantly an Israeli-led event right now, with the military, U.S. military, just right now in a prepared position. I think our first step would have been to eliminate any potential for Iran to launch the attacks that we've seen. So that's one indicator that it wasn't a U.S.-led attack, because the Iranian missile attacks wouldn't have gotten off the ground. So just pray again for that. And I think once you see the American military might go in, then the Iranian military is going to cease to exist, I think. And so we need to be on the watch, be mindful at home. Just pay attention, see something, say something, and just be mindful of what could happen here from the various cells that are certainly deployed across the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep your head on the
Amen.
swivel. All right, everybody hold right there. I want to thank Annie Cyrus of liveuptofreedom.substack.com, Dr. Rob Lindstead, Bible Tip Now, BibleTipNow.org. And Jason, do you have a website?
I don't. I have one, but it's fallen into disrepair as I've been kind of enjoying retired from military life lately.
Okay. But you are also working at another job, right?
I am, yeah, and that's been a full-time job, but it's been an awful lot of fun. I support a lot of national security launches.
Good, excellent. Still in the trenches working. Folks, hold right there, the three of you, just in case, because you may want to say something related to Aaron. Otherwise, we'll get a report from our reporter on the ground in Israel, Aaron Lavarco, and then we'll wrap for this segment. Aaron, what time is it in Israel right now?
6:15 in the evening, Brandon.
6:15 in the evening. We've been doing coverage here now for a little bit. We've covered the waterfront, but we want to get your analysis, what you're hearing. We did just, of course, one of the most concerning things was a hypersonic missile headed your direction, correct?
Correct. Yes.
How many times have you been, by the way, to the bunker? You've been running to the bunker or not?
I've probably been about 15 times.
Wow.
And I have to confess it, I haven't gone every time. It just, it's negligent, I know, but you get a little bit tired. The sirens have been going on and on and on, barrages. And you go and then you realize, well, this time was safe and the last time was safe. And so you get a little bit tired, but I know it's not wise doing that. But it's been mass barrages of missiles. Some have penetrated in the area of Tel Aviv and Bnei Brak, and there are wounded. There are some wounded people there. I don't know how serious it is at this stage. But I'm hearing booms all the time, and that's the defense missiles intercepting, which is great news. And this is just the beginning. This is... one of the big questions is, how long is this going to go? Is this going to be short? Is this going to be long? I read an article this morning saying this should be 2 to 3 weeks only. That's came from our defense minister. He seems to know a lot more than me, so let's hope that it's as short as that. I mean, 8 months ago, it was only 12 days, but this is a different nature. This is trying to bring down the Iranian regime. And from what I'm hearing from President Trump, he is quite dependent on locals as well. He's saying we'll do our part, but we're counting on you as well. Otherwise, there's going to be some massive vacuums that anyone and everyone are going to take. So, this is just the beginning.
We are getting reports, too, that Patrick Wood, one of our broadcast partners, has also checked in. By the way, he says, Annie, your hair is a national treasure. We're talking about the great Iranian hair, how long it is of these Persian women. But he also is monitoring, as we are as well, the anti-Semitism that is swamping the internet right now. Social media is swamped, he says, with anti-Semitism. I'm seeing it as well. We even had someone come on yesterday during the broadcast with you, Aaron, and said something, about, you foreign, why don't you, foreign boy, go deal with your problems, So again, someone directing their ire at you as our reporter on the ground in Israel. And we've been trying to say, obviously, you have your concerns as an Israeli living in that rough neighborhood, but we also have our concerns. And Jason Pratt, retired naval officer, rocket scientist, you've been on broadcast with him. He's talking about the threats that that Iran poses to us as well as our assets in the region. So a lot of people just seem to be losing their mind. I don't know. Maybe the reality is some of these people are educated beyond their intelligence when it comes to the threats of Iran. Is that part of it too, you think, real quick, Jason? Are some of these people just not educated enough to understand that this is a national threat to us too?
Yeah, I think they just, again, live in a bubble. We've been very fortunate for so long that we haven't really felt the impacts of what's really possible here. So I pray we don't. But if we do, I think, I don't know. I don't know if that'll wake people up to the reality of the danger of this world. We're so insulated here in America, unfortunately.
Well, now we're seeing that that's supposed to be one of the tallest buildings in the world. That's Abu Dhabi, right, guys?
Yeah, that looks
yes.
And
it looks like the Burj Khalifa.
Apparently, they just missed what's supposed to be the largest building in the world.
They're going to try again.
Aaron, the anti-Semitism swamping the internet. Speak to that, please.
Well, what your distinguished guest Jason was saying, and what you were saying before about people being, kind of asleep, not knowing what's going out there. This is one of the reasons why it's so important now is the time to bring down this regime and to expose more and more what the Qataris have been doing, what the Saudis have been doing by pouring billions of dollars into America, into the universities, teaching this kind of anti-Israel, anti-Zionism rhetoric. And it's swept in, and now we're seeing it come out. But even before that, of course, 47 years ago, the Islamic regime rose up. We're seeing the fruit of the Ayatollah Khomeiни's vision 47 years ago. No one has done anything about it because they've crept in very seductively, very sweetly, and now it's time. It's time. This is the time to liberate the Iranian people, to liberate Iran, and hopefully somehow get re-educated in the universities in the United States and in the West. That's of course if it's not too late. We talked about that also last night, Brandon.
Mm-hmm. And your country, are they preparing you for how long this could go on, Aaron?
Well, that's a really tough question, to be honest. Firstly, we have been preparing for a long time. We've been already 2.5 years at war.
But I mean, this now, this Operation Fury, how long is this supposed to go? I guess you guys are calling it Operation Roaring Lion or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have our name, you have your name. How long is this supposed to go?
Yeah, that's a hard question. Like I said, our defense minister, I read a statement. He said maybe 2 to 3 weeks we're going to have this finished. I hope so. I hope it's as fast as that. But again, and maybe Ani would know more about this than I do, that Trump is making it clear that we're going to do our part. We're not going to put boots on the ground. That's up to the Iranian people. And of course, the son of the ex-Shah of Iran. I don't know what they've got planned. I don't know what they're planning with the CIA or with the Mossad, but they've got to have some plans up their sleeves to take over the day after. But I don't know if we can do it in 2 to 3 weeks, but it's been a good start, a positive start. We're going after the top leaders, the scientists. Let's see, day one is over, but man, we have been hit heavy. The percentage of success from our defense, the Iron Dome, the David Sling, the Arrow missile has been quite remarkable, but there have been missiles that have penetrated through. And when you're talking about supersonic missiles, that's scary. I mean, one of the American bases got hit there quite hard. And what I'm hearing also, Brendan, is one of the dangers that maybe, let's hope, maybe not, that the Iranians may use drones with, who knows, with chemical weapons, if they indeed have chemical weapons.
We're also getting reports, I've tagged it, Logan, some video footage. Video shows dozens of dead bodies in Iran following the Islamic Republic opening. That's old video footage. Someone's just reloading it. I guess they're reloading it to remind the world this is the regime that we're dealing with. So there you go. We do have, I marked that as well. This is Iranians living in The Hague gathered on Saturday to celebrate U.S. and Israeli airstrikes, waving pre-Islamic Republic lion and sun flags during the demonstration. That's just, again, a reminder of the kind of regime you're dealing with that slaughtered their own people like that.
Brandon,
all right, guys. Yeah.
Brandon, have you been thinking about the fact that Iran have not only been hitting Israel, but practically every other Muslim nation in the region?
They've hit Israel and 6 other nations. I think we got in total 7.
And probably one of the main reasons they've done that is because of U.S. military bases in those areas. But it just, what I was thinking about, you know, we've been talking a lot here in Israel about the Feast of Purim, the Feast of Esther, and how Haman ended up hanging on the very gallows that he was planning for the Jews to hang on. And if he keeps on going like this against the Arab nations, they're going to hang on their own gallows. It's going to come back to them like a boomerang.
Logan, I just hit one for you there. It's Iranian high school students are reportedly praising Trump following strikes on the Iranian regime, with one saying, quote, "I love Trump," end quote. Iranian students.
Brandon?
Yeah, Rob?
Yeah, I think Aaron's brought up a great point. Matter of fact, this morning when I got up, I happened to be reading the book of Esther. We're studying that in an honors Bible class. And yes, there's an anti-Israel movement on. Closely behind that is the anti-Christian movement. And so what do they hate? Well, they hate the God of the Jews. They hate the God of the Christian. It's a hatred for God. They don't even know the people. It's a hatred for God. But I think the book of Esther is so appropriate right now because of the time frame of the year. So here is evil designed against the Jew by Haman. And everything that he designed against the Jew, God allowed it to come back, and it was his own demise that he was designing. And so I think a great read today, if people would read the little book of Esther, you can read it about 10 or 15 minutes, and you see the hand of God protecting Israel, and you see the hand of God saying, you know what, people are going to reap what they sow. And when you reap evil against God, against the people of God, whether it's Jews or Christians, then that's going to come back on you.
All right, we've also got footage coming in of NYPD counterterrorism posted outside one of the temples there in New York City. So obviously they are starting to increase security around some of the most prominent synagogues in the United States. And of course, what we're going to do is ask everyone to pray for our troops that are in harm's way, pray for our president and national leaders, pray for our Jewish friends, pray for the safety of America here on the homeland front. And we're going to continue to monitor this. Annie will be bringing coverage. I'll be dipping in as I'm able, but I've already scheduled things to take care of today. But we're going to be breaking in, and of course, we'll have it all through the week. Again, if you appreciate what we're doing, we have to have your support. We just sent another love offering to our reporter on the ground in Israel, Aaron, just the other day. And we need your support so we can keep supporting him and keep him reporting to us, as well as those wonderful tours he's been bringing us. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. We're going to rack this, and we'll re-roll this, what we've just done now. How long have we been going here, Logan? An hour and 54 minutes, so almost 2 hours. We're going to rack this and roll this several times throughout the day because, again, I think what we've done here is very instructive, and people are going to want to share it and have other friends watching it for the very first time as well. So again, brought to you by you through our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Don't forget about the various sponsors we have at worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors, Bella Grace, Numi, Gatatana, Dolly Food.shop, and so much more. worldviewtube.com/sponsors. All of our guests have given their closing statement except for Aaron. We grabbed him at the last minute here as he was already involved in some meetings. Aaron, why don't you give us a closing comment before we go?
Well, the two words that have been on my heart all day, number one is liberation. The other one is salvation. Liberation for the Iranian people. They deserve it. They've suffered so many decades now. And just seeing them cheering, the Americans and the Israelis, warms my heart. There we go. There's some people dancing in the streets. I don't know if that's from what we're talking about.
Yeah, it is. Liberation today.
Okay, yeah, liberation for the Iranian people and liberation for us in Israel. We're tired of having these threats of the Iranians and feeding their proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. We're tired of it. So let's get this done and find liberation. And the second word is salvation. I'm really hoping in this darkness that the church rise up and that there will be voices and salvation will come. And people that have been following the regime, this Islamic fundamentalist jihadist regime, they will see its futility, that for 47 years it's brought about misery and emptiness and darkness, and hopefully they will find the light of Yeshua, the Messiah.
And we are hearing that Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz. That's the report we're getting. And one commentator says there's about 20 barrels of oil that pass through that strait every single day. And then about 15% of all liquefied natural gas on Earth transits that checkpoint. So again, we'll see where this goes and what that entails and what that involves. But there you go. Incredible coverage. Jason Pratt, Annie Cyrus, liveuptofreedom.substack.com, liveuptofreedom.com as well. Dr. Rob Lindstedt, Bible Tip, BibleTipNow.org. Guys, thank you. Aaron, lighttothenationsministry.com, brought to you by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com. Thank you, guys. And Annie, thank you for the reporting. I know you're going to be covering and dipping in and dipping out throughout the day as well.
Yes, I will most certainly try my best to keep our audience up to moment as I gather, and hopefully you can join me here and there, and I'll reach out and see if I can get some of your usual guests on with me as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Jason. And thank you, Aaron. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, Brendan.
All right, guys, that's our breaking news special report, 10:32 Central, 11:32 Eastern Standard on this Saturday, February 28th, 2026. Again, we'll rack and re-roll this 2 hours. We've been going now several times throughout the day. Let's roll the music. We'll call it a wrap for right now. And again, it is so vital that we have your support. I can't say that enough. We are a listener-supported network, okay? So many bills to keep a TV network like this going. Not only do we broadcast, but we then let our platform be used, obviously, by people like Dr. Rob Lindstedt and Annie Cyrus and Patrick Wood. And we don't charge them. So we need your support. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. May God save America and protect Israel. Take care.